What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast or webcast because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy, and as we start off every show, that's with gratitude. Just want to say thank you to all of our supporters, specifically all of our supporters from By the Hood University, as well as our By the Hood ownership camp, which was a success. Shout out to all the students there as well. I'm joined by my partner in crime as always, Curt. What's up, good brother?
What's going on, Jim? You know, every day above ground is a good day. Never going to complain about being alive, man.
Oh, man, listen, I'm excited about this episode. As you know, our platform is designed to highlight brothers and sisters who are doing amazing work, building amazing businesses. This gentleman that we got on with us has been on our show before. This is our brother, and he is building a business in a space that I think is underrepresented, misunderstood, but very, very important to the culture. Listen, we got our brother King Curt live on. What's up, good brother?
What's going on? This is my brothers. I'm back.
What's going on? Back
That's
like
right.
you never left.
That's right, and that's of Head Nerds in Charge, man. It's a Blerd community, but it's much more than that. It's a media company, and you know, like I said, you told your story when you came on the first time. Let's talk about how far you've grown and how much you've grown. Talk about like where you are now versus when you first had the idea of HNIC, and just how big you are now.
Man, Jimmy, this thing has gotten so crazy because it legitimately started with 3 people, me, my cousin, and my best friend, saying, "Hey, we should do a podcast because you know that's what nerds do. We talk about geek stuff, Marvel, DC, all of the above. So we figured somebody might be entertained by the way we argue and talk trash about each other. So we started with just wanting to do a podcast, but I was a stand-up comedian, and at the time I was writing comedy for an internet radio station. And on the internet radio station, they enjoyed my content. So they said, "Hey, Curt, you've been doing comedy for all these other shows. Would you be interested in doing your own show?" Of course. All right. Well, I'm with that. Well, what would you do the show about? And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, we were already going to do a podcast. Let us do a nerd or Blerd centric, which is black nerd. It's a little phrase we done coined in the subculture. Blerd centric radio show. I'll never forget the program manager was like, we're a hip hop station, so let's take it to the big boss to see what he think about it. First thing he said out of his mouth was like, "Okay, I dig the nerd thing, but I don't know how that's going to fit. Let's see if it works out." So they gave us the opportunity, and within 3 short months, we were their number 1 show. And within 6 short months, we were their only show that was pulling any kind of numbers. And then we realized, like, hey, we may have something here. I really thank those brothers at PC Radio for giving us the opportunity and really springboarding the concept into something more tangible and something real, because I would have been doing it for fun, whereas they made it. They gave us the opportunity to make it into truly a platform. So, while I was there, we were going back and forth, and I was like, hey, there's these streaming services out here. There's OBS. There's all these different ways that we can do the show differently. It doesn't have to just be a radio show or a podcast. We can actually add the video and we can do overlays, and we can do this and that and that and that. Because, we already were hip to the space with Discord and Twitch, and we were already doing gaming streaming. But my major thing was podcasting was way too crowded of a field. Like, everybody and their mom had a podcast, but not everybody was doing quality web shows. And this was before like Facebook really got integrated with OBS and other streaming platforms, so people could go live on their page, but it wasn't like people were doing full-fledged shows like a lot of people are now. So to make a long story short, we evolved from a podcast into a web show, and COVID happened. And the one thing that I'll say about this, we may not have made the same amount of money that we did previously during COVID, but our fan base exploded. Amazing what you can do when nobody can go outside. You ain't got no choice but to sit here and Jimmy and Corey, all people did was consume content.
Yeah.
And it was literally the best time to be an established show with a decent following, a structure, and a brand. All we needed was people to pay attention. And we went from, I think the first time I was on you guys' show, I don't even know where we were, but I know we were touting like maybe around 10,000 followers and hitting 100. I mean, not about 1 million people a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, after building our page up, assimilating another nerd group's page, and pulling in a collaboration from multiple groups to kind of make a network of different people so that we can broaden our message and hit more platforms at once. We're close to 300,000 followers right now, and we're hitting maybe 50 million people monthly.
Wow, that's impressive, bro.
Listen.
That's impressive. And you know, the crazy part about it is that space, right? You know, what's considered blurred or black nerd, as you said. A lot of people don't even understand just how big that space is, right? Can you talk about that? What's the biggest misconception about the blurred culture?
I guess the biggest misconception I would say is that you can only feed them nerd content.
Okay.
That's so. As content creators, we already know if you're stale, you'll die.
Mm-hmm.
You have to constantly be fresh. And one of the things that really separated us from other platforms was the simple fact that we didn't just talk Superman, Batman, X-Men, Wonder Woman. We didn't just keep the topics to nerd-centric genres. We talked about everything. So when the riots was going on, we talked about that. When the presidency was, when that ball was wilding, we was talking about that. When we were hitting all kinds of social issues and things that other people were not talking about. And guess what? If anything, I could tell you this: if they are a nerd or identify as a geek or whatnot, they are in the know. These are some of the most intelligent people that are in any space, and everybody can be a geek. Everybody can be a nerd because we're all nerdy about something. If you like fantasy football and you a sports ball and you know stats, you're no different than the ball that knows D&D and he play in, or the LARP players, where those live action role players where they deduct their stats and points. You're doing the exact same thing. You're just doing it differently. You're a nerd. You're like own that. You're a basketball nerd. just come to terms with it. That's all.
You're absolutely right. I was telling you before, I had this debate with a friend of mine who, is in the battle rap, knows every battle rapper, all their record, everything. I'm like, yeah, you're a battle rap nerd.
Thank you.
Go home.
You're one of us. One of us.
Just embrace it. Just embrace it, man. I'm listen, man. I'm proud to see how much you've grown, because I think what you guys do is very important. And you created a space that's very important, right? You created a space as creatives. Like what you have is just astounding, man. Because I've met a lot of other creatives from your space, people that are like black illustrators or people that just create all kinds of
Jay Rich on.
Listen,
VT Heroes, yeah.
VT Heroes was amazing. What's the other part that got the comics too?
Concrete Comics.
Concrete Comics was amazing. Yeah. But even looking at their work, I'm like, when I was looking at the Concrete Comics work, I'm like, yo, this is just as good as anything Marvel or DC, but it's from a brother. Like, it blew my mind.
I was just with them. So I was just with them. I was with both of them. I was with Jay Rich and Lonzo at Black Label Con, which is a comic book convention for creatives.
Okay.
It's specifically for underserved, underrepresented POC creatives. And we were all in the same space. And I lie to you not, Jimmy, Concrete Comics is, in my opinion, the next Marvel. I don't even want to say the next Marvel because they're going to be their own thing. They're going to be greater. But, bruh, I was looking at the art and I was flipping through some of their new comic books. And I'm like, how in the world could you have gotten better? Because when I met them brothers, when I met them at the very first Black Label Con, bro, they didn't have comic books. All they had was posters, concept art of what they wanted. Now, they're one of the best-selling indie comic books, and they have added like 4 or 5 new titles. So you're talking about in a short span of 2 years, they're killing the game.
Yeah, and what I like about it is their quality, right?
Yeah, man.
Their quality.
Unmatched.
Unmatched. Even the space, right? So I was at Amalgam this past weekend picking up some books. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's can you talk about the difference in the space now versus say years ago? Like, and I know before the internet, you probably felt alone, right? Because there's nobody around you. Can you talk about that, like how the space and how the internet has brought everybody together?
Bro, well, you already know, like the internet was what unified the world. It made the world a much smaller place, right? Mm-hmm. So the best way I could describe it is I'm one of them. I'm not your normal geek. Like, I wasn't introverted. I didn't get beat up in high school and none of that. I was your normal, kid who grew up in the hood. I had a bunch of friends. I played football. I didn't have a lot of the stereotypical social issues and none of that. I just really, really, really liked comic books. Like, that was my shit. Mm-hmm. So we grew up with Dragon Ball Z. We grew up with anime, like the beginning fringes of it, and we loved X-Men cartoons and all of that. So that was still a norm for us. The only difference is we didn't realize the lack of representation. Okay. Like, we were so happy for the comic books and whatnot. We just was worried about what we had in front of our face. And then we started to get older and realize, like, yo, I don't see a lot of me in these stories. I don't see a lot of superheroes who look like me or who deal with social issues like me. Yeah, you had your Luke Cages, you had your Black Panthers, you had your Jonathan Stewart's, who's Green Lanterns. But no, I know John Stewart might not be the first Green Lantern, but he's a Black Green Lantern, so we had one. But we had onesie twosie things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until now where we're actually building the movement of not only do we not want you to change established characters into Black people, y'all can keep that. No, we will tell our own stories. We will create our own characters. We will be our own narrative now. We are now, instead of consuming nerd culture, we are innovating nerd culture. We are evolving it. And now Blerd is that niche that we're building it off the backs of. When you hear about a Blerd, that is a Black nerd. That is something very different than a regular nerd. It's to the point where you have whole conventions called BlerdCon, where now you can be in a space where you could be around other creators who understand. Yeah. You have platforms who understand. So whereas you might go to a Marvel and say, hey, I got this story about this Black character and he goes through X, Y, and Z. And then you have somebody who doesn't look like you telling you how that story should be told, as opposed to somebody who can relate and be like, hey, you know what? I like exactly what you did. Can we add this sauce or that sauce? Or, hey, I like it just the way it is. And it's received better and put out in a way that we, Black people, Black nerds especially, can take it in and see representation in the culture, as opposed to them dictating what's going to be represented.
Let me ask you a question, right? Because I've seen two dudes almost come to blows over this argument, and it was about no, it was about something you said about when you have these established characters, the Batmans, the Supermans. Like, should we just be creating our own, or is there something wrong with having, say, a Black Superman? Where do you fall on? What side?
You're trying to get me beat up in these streets. No, you know I'm in these nerdy streets, and you're trying to get me jammed up.
Now, so I've seen dudes almost come to, because and the funny thing is they both made amazing points. Right. So I don't even know where I fall. I don't know what the answer is, but you who are deeper in this space than anybody else, I know. I want to see what you feel. How you feel?
Okay, so I am how do I put this? I'm an old school comic book guy. How the character was originally intended to be by the creator, that's what I want. I don't mind if you can evolve the character or if he becomes something new, but I feel like you have to stay true to certain characters. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is a poor kid from New York. He has teenage problems, girl troubles, and he's trying to balance being one of the dopest superheroes ever created. That's his thing. That's his niche. That is what makes him relatable and one of the most popular characters ever. Now, Peter Parker shouldn't be Black. That's just not how he was intended to be. I don't want Peter Parker to ever be Black.
I mean, are you cool with Miles?
That's why I mess with you, Jimmy, because you know where I was going with that. But guess what? I noticed I said Peter Parker. I didn't say Spider-Man couldn't be black. I said Peter Parker couldn't be black. Miles Morales can take up the mantle, and that's the difference. I don't mind when a new person takes up the mantle. There's a black Batman that's coming and taking up the mantle. There's been a black Afro-Latino character in Miles Morales that took up the mantle of Spider-Man. Just recently, we've had Sam Wilson take up the mantle of Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, of all the characters, I'm a Steve Rogers fan. Go figure. I'm super Afrocentric and all that, but my favorite superhero is Steve Rogers.
I would have never guessed that.
Bro, you know what? Whenever I say that, people be like, really? Like, I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm gonna lift it up. I got Steve Rogers. Well, yeah, it is. Steve Rogers on the wall right there. And like, I got Steve Rogers shield all over my house. I like the moral compass of Steve Rogers. It doesn't matter what you say or do to that man. If he feels like it's the right thing to do, he will not deviate from that. So I don't mind if a character is changed as long as it's a new character and not something like what they did in Fantastic Four, where they made Johnny Storm into Michael B. Jordan. Like, get that trash out of here. And this is why Fantastic Four movies have been doo-doo. Like, I don't want that. That's just not what I want. I don't want you to pigeonhole diversity into my content. What I want is you to tell me fresh new stories that I'm familiar with.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Understood. Now, are you one of these folks, right? You know, when stuff gets adapted to film, that you go crazy because you like the source material? You know what I mean? Like, you know, are you one of them folks?
Are you a manga snob?
Oh, no, not. You know what? And especially with anime, they have a really hard time doing live action anything. This is why, you know, whenever there's any kind of adaptation to real life, you will not be able to make it as dope as the manga. You just can't, because you can't do all unless you got one of them crazy budgets. That's why Avatar was trash. That's why Attack on Titan was trash. That's why when you try to do these, you try to bring it to reality, like a comic book like Kick-Ass, right? They did a live action version that and it's a little well known, but it's one of those adaptations where you're like, wow, I didn't even know that was a comic book. You get what I mean? When they did Scott Pilgrim Saves the World, they put some real money behind it to make it a good adaptation. Amazon Prime has Invincible, now the cartoon version, and let me tell you something, the liberties that they took, I didn't mind because it was that good. Invincible is one of those things. If y'all haven't seen it.
No, I have seen it,
bro.
And
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
Oh, you have to watch
Jimmy.
Invincible.
You missing out on good TV. Invincible.
Oh, it's like that. Okay. I say less. I'm on it.
I'm talking about right now. Amazon Prime has The Boys.
I like that.
Okay, so if you love The Boys, hold on. If you,
I got a couple of comments in front of me. I got a couple of in front of me.
Curt, you with me? I see. Now I was on The Boys long before the show came out. I was on Invincible long before the show came out, and I was on The Walking Dead long before the show came out.
Listen, The Walking Dead comic is far superior to the TV.
See, this is what I'm talking about, my guy.
There are certain things you can do in books with words, with pictures that you cannot do in live action.
I got one of them right here, like, you know what I mean? Like, literally right in front of me. So
exactly.
Yeah, like, so in live action, things are going to get cut out. Like, parts of the story have to get cut out,
right,
so that it can be live action, because some of the things you can tell in stories that, or you can put in pictures, you cannot put in live action and then have it not be rated X. Like, it literally would be rated X,
especially The Boys.
Literally could be rated X.
Yo, for those that might not be hip to The Boys, there's an arc called Herogasm. You might see it in season 3. If they do, don't watch it with your kids. Anyway, go ahead.
No, so I'm asking you that for a reason, because my single favorite graphic novel of all time, the show is actually getting ready to get dropped, which is Why the Last Man, right?
Did we not this conversation. I think I got hype.
Every time we talk, I bring this up because I love it that much, right?
Yeah, Yorick is that dude.
But my question to you is, what do you think about? How do you think they're going to do with this, right? Because to me, they've been trying to do this for years.
Who's doing it? First.
I know it's on FX, right? And I know,
Yeah.
They didn't do Preacher right. No, bro. I'll just say this: it's all dependent upon who's a part of the project. If the original, like Robert Kirkman, has always had his hands in The Walking Dead and Invincible, so that's what made Invincible so good. And a case in point, The Watchmen, right?
Mm-hmm.
HBO dedicated one season. The actual Watchmen series really has nothing to do with the original graphic novel outside of it touched on the characters and themes of the original source material.
Yeah.
But that is one of those things where it's like, okay, this wasn't what I was expecting, but they adapted it in a way that it's still enjoyable. It still gives me the nostalgia of the original source material, but they told it in a fresh new way where I'm all in. I didn't think I would like the new Watchmen series, but it's absolutely, Regina King kills it, and it's one of the best adaptations I've ever seen. So when you do something like Why the Last Man, for those folks who might not be hip to it, Why the Last Man is just a story about what happens when all men on Earth are inexplicably wiped out and there's only one man left. And imagine a world ran completely by women and you're the only dude. I'm gonna leave that little tidbit for you to ponder on your own. I don't want no trouble, but it gets really interesting. And to do that story, what I'm excited about is strong women leads. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a story that will absolutely suck you in because, just like Jimmy said, this is one of the things that we first bonded over because it's one of my top 5 graphic novels of all time, easily. So if you can go out and get the graphic novel before the series comes out, do it. But if FX is doing it, I've only enjoyed like one FX show, and that was Sons of Anarchy.
Got you.
Like they jacked up New Mutants. They jacked up like they're terrible.
I'm just letting everybody know.
I'm just gonna say it. They're terrible.
Anybody listening, watching, I'm gonna be a snob when it comes out already. I'm already telling you, I'm gonna be like, because listen, Brian K. Vaughan does have an EP credit, and he is, as a matter of fact, right. So I was at Amalgam this weekend. One of the books that I bought, and I've actually read the whole thing, but I'm going back into buying the physical. Is another Brian K. Vaughan saga, right? So this is also written by Brian K. Vaughan. It's amazing.
Well, you telling me that's something that I need to put on the list?
Listen, if you haven't read Saga, read Saga, right? Okay. So I had it digitally, read the whole thing, but it's so good that I went over there to buy the physical because I want to have the physical. And another one I got was this here. I don't know if you read this one either. It's called Wait, right? It's a graphic novel. It's the hidden history of woman-led slave revolts.
Oh, man, that's right up my alley.
And it's a graphic novel, but it's heavy. Like it's heavy. So
and shout out to Malcolm, right? Like it's 700 pages.
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
Bro, listen, I show you a couple. Like they get to it, but it's serious. But
I like a thickums. I like them when they thick.
Oh yeah. So listen, but shout out to Amalgam, which is in Philly. Black owned, so we definitely support them.
Ariel is dope as hell.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was there this weekend and grabbed some of that stuff there. But I had to ask you that. That was like really a question for me because I just want to know. Like, I hope they don't mess this up.
No, Jimmy, I can't ease your concerns, brother. I'm sorry.
Listen, man.
Like Corey said, New Mutants was due.
Yeah, that joint was absolute. Listen, because every time they put one of these things out, I'm like, man, this joint gonna be trash. I ain't watching that. Then I end up watching it.
Yep.
And then it's be trash, and then I'll be disappointed. It's like knowing somebody gonna lie to you, and you still listen to him anyway.
Yeah, you're like, that's my man though. So I guess I.
Yeah. Like, hey, listen, I'm telling y'all off rip. I'm watching Why the Last Man because listen, when I say it's my favorite, I've read it several times because it's so layered. There's so much going on, right? Like you would think that everybody's trying to procreate with the last man. It's some of that, but it's a lot deeper than that. It's insane. So
all I'm gonna say is, women, if reading that book, you will realize how useless we can become.
Like, very quickly.
They be like, get this dude out of here. It's a dude running around. Nah.
Yeah, they try to get bored out of here.
Out of here.
Yeah. So and listen, man, I'm very proud of what you're building, what you have built, but we have to make an announcement here as well. We're partnering up to be a part of that, right? One of the things you mentioned is it's not just all like, geek talk, right? There's other parts of that, whether you guys talking about politics and all that.
Yeah.
This is where we come into play, right? Listen, we're Blerds as well in our own way, but we're finding
Blerd.
Yeah, exactly. Crypto, real estate, that's our thing. So we want to come together with you guys and as part of your Patreon, I'll let you make the announcement,
I appreciate it, Jimmy. Listen, one of the things that if you've ever watched Head Nerds in Charge, you know that we are all about the proliferation and promotion of Black creatives, even those that create a financial space for us to be able to not only start to build generational wealth, but support our community by building businesses. One of the ways you do that is starting an economic infrastructure, an ecosystem, if you will. And fortunately, Head Nerds in Charge, partnering with By the Hood, begins to develop that financial ecosystem. So through our Patreon, which we will be giving away to the first 100 Patreon subscribers at $25. We have By the Hood. Corey and Jimmy are going to give you the pearls, the jewels, the gems to help you begin to establish a financial base which to build upon. And they're going to be dropping content weekly. We're going to be supporting these brothers by making sure to get the word out. And as we come together and we collaborate, we're trying to do the very thing that's the very basis of HNIC, Head Nerds in Charge, and By the Hood, which is to build up not only our platforms so we can get the message out, but have a message worth hearing. Absolutely. And that message worth hearing is all about bettering our people, bettering our communities, and getting us to a place, whether it be financially, emotionally, spiritually, because all of that stuff is encompassed. Hey, listen, if you got the money to be able to give your kids something better than what you had, guess what?
Give it to them.
This is the and what I love most about this is because I'm very passionate about what these brothers do. I've been in the crypto space for a long time, and I'm telling you, when we get money from Head Nerds in Charge, the first thing I do is reinvest it in cryptocurrency. I don't let it just sit in the bank. I try to do my best to be the change that I want to see within myself, because that's how we support our brand. But even I don't know everything. Matter of fact, I don't know half as much as these brothers. So I'm going to go just like how they come and pull me on and we could talk about fables and all. I'm diverting to these brothers to be like, educate and inform y'all who support us, y'all who support them. You're going to get the jewels. They taking it right from their university, and they're doing specific content geared towards you, Black nerds, and all nerds. Because don't think just because you're not a Blerd that you can't get down on this. Oh no, white folks, I want your money too. So come on.
No, but you know what? I'm glad you said that, because here's the thing, right? And we've talked before. There are a lot of ways just kind of like, invest in things that you love and get to the bag. Within the nerd space, there are so many things as it pertains to just like, whether it's land, whether it's...
I was going to say, Jimmy, tell them some of the stuff you showed me, bro. I saw a digital horse, y'all. Y'all don't understand. There are digital horses that are selling for G's out in these streets.
Listen, man, shout out to Zebra, man. But listen, there's a lot of things in the Blerd space where you can get to the bag, whether that's trading cards. We have strategies to get paid on trading cards. Even the companies that own video games, esports. So there's all kinds of ways, and we're going to create content that's geared towards your community and our community, that's culturally relevant. And I'm very excited about it. And, for those watching the video, you can look at the bottom. That is the Patreon for Head Nerds in Charge. Go ahead and check out all their tiers. And, look for the tier that we're partnering with the By the Hood tier.
You'll know it'll say By the Hood. You can't miss it.
Absolutely. And this is something that we're very excited about, man. Like, we love these conversations. Again, there's nerd in all of us. I don't care who you are. There's something that you, even if it's your favorite Netflix series.
Yeah, we trying to help you be nerdier, right? Because if the bigger the bag you got, the more nerd content you can consume, right? Because the reason I'm not nerdier than I am is because I got 3 kids, and so I got to spread my nerdy out. I got to spread the nerd. I got my son is 14. He's nerdy. I got an 11-year-old that's into the same thing, like the games and so all of the nerdy stuff that used to just be about me, I got to spread that out.
You got to get a love.
Yeah, my 3-year-old is going to be into that, right? So we I have to spread my nerd out, so I need more money, right? So
I love it.
That's why I got into that's why I got into making, that's why I got into crypto and got into the options game and got into those things so I could have more money, so my nerd didn't have to get quelled, right? So I can afford my nerd and their nerd. You know what I mean? So
all right, so Curt, let me ask you this question while we got you on here. I got to pick your brain with this, right? You talked about Invincible, right, on Amazon, right? All right, so what are some of the things that are on streaming right now that if folks haven't checked out, they should check out? Like, what are some of the good things that you've seen over the past, little time?
Bruh. Okay, so right now, if Rick and Morty fans, there is a show. Oh man. What's it? Basically, the creator of Rick and Morty has a Hulu specific show. The name of the show escapes me at the moment, but I'm gonna Google it right quick while I'm talking. But it's about aliens, and it's on Hulu. It's exclusively streaming on Hulu. On HBO, the Harley Quinn series.
Okay.
Listen, it's like Batman if it was on Pornhub. and I don't say it. I don't say that. I don't say it like it's like graphic, like it's all porn, even though it get a little risque. But it's like it's no holds bar. It's told from the point of view of Harley Quinn. And if you saw Deadpool, like Deadpool's movie, imagine Deadpool. She's the Deadpool of the DC universe. She breaks the fourth wall. She's over the top. And her series is pure chef kiss. So if you get a chance, go check that out.
Okay.
There's Castlevania. Oh, bro, if you're not up on Castlevania on Netflix, which has hands down one of the dopest black characters to ever grace any source material. Hear me? I'm gonna say it again. Castlevania on Netflix has the dopest black character to ever grace any source material.
Wow.
Check that out. And I'm not even going to tell you his name. You're going to have to see the show to understand, baby. And the last thing that I've been telling people to be hip to is going to be a little different because for my history nerds, Netflix has a documentary called How to Be a Tyrant.
I saw it. I watched the whole thing.
See, Jimmy, this is what. Listen, if you are familiar with the book, what is it? 48 Tenets of Power.
48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, the 48 Laws of Power. I remember reading that book when I was relatively young, and How to Be a Tyrant literally gives you the playbook to every world dominator, dictator, tyrant throughout history, and it's told in a way to tell you how to be a successful tyrant. The caveat that I want you to take away from, yes, these are terrible people. I'm not telling you to be a tyrant. Don't say King Curt Live came on here and was like, oh, we should become dictators. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, from a business aspect, from a leadership aspect, they give you some serious jewels and gems in how to retain, use, and utilize power. All I'm saying is, just because you get the playbook doesn't mean you got to use it for evil. Just like Superman, he got superpowers and he chose to be good. You can be good with your power.
Listen, man, with great power comes great responsibility.
Hey,
bring it all the way back.
You're gonna hit him with the Uncle Ben.
Yeah, R.I.P. Uncle Ben. Speaking of Uncle Ben, yeah. R.I.P. Uncle Ben, man. Listen, man, this has been amazing, man. I'm excited about this partnership, man. I can't wait to get to work, to serve the folks and to make sure they're getting, exactly what they're looking for. I can't wait to see what the future holds, man. But I just want to say, first and foremost, I'm proud of you, bro, because I've seen your growth from where you started to where you are. I mean, Corey, you got anything you want to say to the good brother?
Me and Curt been, rolling since
20 plus years, yo, bro.
Yeah, man, 20. We got a dub in, right?
Yeah.
So, I've seen Curt go from, working with babies, working with kids in our program that we was working in to becoming the man that he's become. And so I'm always proud of my brother, man. Like, That's that's just like me and you brothers, Jim. We known each other for 30 plus years. This is my brother. You know what I mean? Like I known this man for a dub. Like I've known him longer than I've not known him.
Right. So, that's but even for y'all, if I can just say, from where y'all came from, to where you at. Listen, don't think that I don't keep an eye on my brothers, because I'm like, no, because genuinely, we've been looking for opportunities to work together. And for those that might know, you always want to collab. You always keep it in your mind. You're like, yo, I can collab with these brothers. But we know when you're trying to platform build and world build, and you're trying to make sure you got your stuff right before you try, you can really come to your people and be like, hey, okay, now we're at a place where we can put this thing together. And, it's good to be able to look over and see I'm building, and I look over the wall, and I'm like, oh yeah, they building too, and they looking good. They looking good. Y'all,
that was an amazing business lesson you just gave right there. I don't know if folks caught up on that, but that was a business gem, right? Collaboration over competition, man. It's about collaborating and trying to serve the folks, man.
And see, when you put the two platforms together, that Jimmy, just to your point, it even if you are separate, that doesn't mean you can't come together. But when you come together, it should never be at least I never like where you have to pull your brother up. There's nothing wrong with pulling your brother up, but it helps if your brother is already running step by step with you, so that when we go together, we just moving faster.
Exactly, man. So this is going to be exciting, man. And for the folks out there, I'm going to put the link in the description as well. You see it at the bottom of the screen, but if you're listening, it'll be in the show notes as well. Make sure you check out everything that Head Nerds in Charge has. Check out their show. Their web show is amazing. And Curt's the go-to guy, man. He knows all the good stuff to watch. That's why I had to ask him while we had him on here. He has.
Listen, y'all need to come on in the show and just talk some nerd stuff. Look, hey, listen, I know y'all making ducats, but come on out and come nerd with us. We there. No, don't say that, because I'll put you on next week. Because next week we talking about 90s fashion for back to school. We talking about
let's go.
I'm putting. So we look, y'all hear this? They agreeing. I need, but see, here's the caveat. Y'all gotta promise me. There's always got to be a catch. We all gonna post at least 2 pictures of us from high school. Oh, I'm with it. Thank you.
I'm with it.
Corey, bro.
No, I don't want nobody to see me young and skinny.
No.
It's gonna be crazy. Allow nobody to see me young and skinny.
The worse your drip was, the better.
Yo, it's gonna be amazing. I'm with all that.
Allow anyone to see me young and skinny.
I'm with all that. That's gonna be hilarious.
No, drag the above average savage.
All right. I gotta go.
Just give me one. Don't make me go back in the City Year files and go find it on my own.
I was 23 when I
don't care. Close enough.
Hey, Corey, man, I might have some pics of you too, bro. Like from our class picnic and all that, man. Like I got some pics, bro. But no, man, you listen, man. Ain't nothing wrong. Listen, I don't mind laughing at myself, man, because like you said, the funnier it is.
Yo.
You know what I mean?
And plus, we all grew up in that era, and it's just one of those opportunities. Like I said, we always do content that we relate to. And so when you talk about back to school was a fashion show, man.
Y'all about to get hit in the head with these rayon shirts.
Bro, I had an iceberg. I had a picture of me in an iceberg shirt. I was like,
yo, rayon shirts and high top fades is for everyone.
Bro,
I definitely
get this shirts though. I had them pictures.
Y'all definitely about to get the high top fade. High top fades are coming in soon, man.
Coming in hot.
Hey, bro, I got a John where I got a 4-finger ring on. Like I'm out here wilding.
Please,
I'm wilding, bro. I was wilding.
Polaroids, we don't care. Take a picture of the picture. We just want
to Yo, count us in, man. So listen, to an audience out there, make sure you check out the Patreon. Check out everything that HNIC got going on, man. What they're building is very powerful and is needed for our community, and it's culturally relevant. That's what even the name HNIC is culturally relevant, right? Yep. You know what I mean? I love it all, man. So make sure
brand recognition, baby. Everybody always be like, wait a minute, what is the Head Nerds in Charge? But when we hear HNIC, it means something different than us.
Exactly. So make sure you check out what they got going on, man. Stay in tune with us, man. Hey, and be on the lookout for those 90s picks because they will be coming soon, man.
Coming in hot.
Everybody out there, man. Listen, as we always say, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. Game elevates, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.